Chapter 191. Mo Jinrong cheated. At this time, old Mrs. Mo arrived at the Lan family villa. She heard that Lan Anran's family had a hospital, but she did manage to find out where she was staying. After all, the Lan family was a well-known family. She would know after asking. "Hi, is this Lan Anran's house?" Old Mrs. Mo smiled kindly. Li Yiro was confused. "You are?" "I am Mo Jinrong's grandma. I wanted to visit Anran." Old Mrs. Mo had an elegant temperament and a calm expression, making her look like a lady from a prestigious family. "Oh, you are the head of the Mo family? I've heard of you. Come in." Li Yiro hurriedly invited her in. Old Mrs. Mo walked in and nodded in satisfaction at the Lan family's decor. Although it couldn't compare to the Mo family's elegance, she could see the scholarly temperament. "Ting-young, Jinrong's grandmother is here." Li Yiro called out to Lan Ting-young, who was cooking in the kitchen. "What? Quick, sit. Jinrong's grandma, we didn't know you were coming. There isn't too much food to serve, but please don't mind me. My food is ready. Since you're here, stay for dinner." Lan Ting-young smiled and untied his apron. "I don't mind. It's my fault too. I was in a hurry and didn't inform you beforehand." Old Mrs. Mo smiled as she sat in the chair. "Jinrong's grandma, why are you here?" Li Yiro asked. "I miss Anran. I wanted to visit her since she was back, and I haven't seen her parents yet, so I'm here to visit." Old Mrs. Mo smiled. "We have long heard that the Mo family has a kind head. Seeing you today, we are convinced." Lan Ting-young placed the last plate of braised fish on the table and smiled. "That's hearsay, but your skills look good. Anran grew up in such a blessed family. No wonder she is beautiful and likable." Old Mrs. Mo smiled and said, "Jinrong's grandma, please excuse me. I'm going to call Anran down. She hasn't been downstairs since she came back, and I don't know what she's doing." Li Yiro smiled and went upstairs. "We have a guest. Why aren't you down there to welcome her?" "Anran, Jinrong's grandma is here. She doesn't look like a malicious person from the legends. You have to be polite and have a sweet tongue." Li Yiro reminded her softly. Anran was a little confused. She didn't expect old Mrs. Mo to come over. She hurriedly changed her clothes and went downstairs. "Jinrong's grandma, Anran is here. This is my youngest son, Yanran." Li Yiro made the introductions. "He's so handsome." Old Mrs. Mo was happy to see Lan Yanran. "Hi, Grandma." Yanran greeted her politely. Good, good." Old Mrs. Mo smiled. "Grandma, I didn't visit you when I came back, but you came instead." Anran was apologetic. "It's all right, Anran. Grandma just missed you and came to take a look. Actually, I know about you and Jinrong. You just got married, and it's normal for young people to have some conflicts when they're young and arrogant. How can young married couples not quarrel?" Old Mrs. Mo held Anran's hand and persuaded her. "Did you quarrel with Jinrong today?" Ting-young frowned in confusion. "It's a small matter. It doesn't matter. I raised Jinrong single-handedly. He has a little problem, but it isn't a big problem." Old Mrs. Mo was embarrassed. Anran took a deep breath. This matter was blown up. "What happened? Anran, you can't throw a tantrum after you're married. The Mo family and the Lan family are both prestigious families. You can't have any conflict with Jinrong." They had just gotten married and things had escalated. They didn't know what would happen in the future. No, it's Jinrong's fault. He is young and insensible. Anran saw the misunderstanding at the company today. It's all right, Anran. Please forgive him on the account of Grandma." Old Mrs. Mo smiled and said, "Grandma, this isn't a matter of forgiveness. I just got married, and he's already behaving like this in the company. In the past, I heard that Mo Jinrong didn't get close to women after he got married. I saw it too. It's true. But today he really made me furious. Everyone in the company was watching. I'm just a young mistress of the Mo family, and he doesn't love me at all. Ayn Rand felt wronged. Since things had come to this, she could only continue to act. No, 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 it's not like that. Good granddaughter-in-law, Jinrong is insensible. I'll talk to him when I'm back. Old Mrs. Mo was heartbroken to see Ayn Rand on the verge of tears. Jinrong's grandma, our Ayn Rand, is also a lady. Although she wasn't by our side since she was a child, she is still the young lady of the Lan family. How could she suffer in the Mo family? Lan Xingyang finally understood. Mo Jinrong was caught having an affair, and he made his daughter suffer. This was intolerable. I know it's Jinrong's fault. I will definitely make it up to Ayn Rand for her suffering, but you can't get a divorce. Ayn Rand, you're the only young mistress of the Mo family. Pass me the divorce agreement. Good children don't get a divorce. Old Mrs. Mo persuaded earnestly. What? Sis, are you divorced? Ayn Rand spoke as if he had swallowed a bomb. Chapter 192, Divorce? Yeah, Ayn Rand nodded. Ayn Rand, don't be silly. Why didn't you discuss the divorce with us first? It might be unforgivable, but if you get a divorce, it will be your second marriage. You are only 20 years old, but if you get a divorce, what will happen in the future? Leah was anxious. Mom, it's all right. I'm fine alone. Ayn Rand forced a smile. Nonsense, Ayn Rand. I'll teach that brat a lesson when I'm back. Don't be angry for now. Old Mrs. Mo comforted her. Bastard! How dare he bully my sister? I'm going to beat him up. Ayn Rand clenched his fist. Ayn Rand, that's your brother-in-law. Lan Xingyang spoke. It's all right, it's all right. I want to beat this rascal up too. Old Mrs. Mo didn't stop him. Jinrong's his grandma. Jinrong was too much in this matter. I can't treat my daughter like this. How about this? Let's leave the divorce agreement here and wait for Jinrong to come over and apologize to Ayn Rand. We can talk about the divorce agreement later. We can't just forgive such a mistake. Your grandchild is a treasure, but so is my daughter. Lan Xingyang said firmly. These words touched Ayn Rand deeply. Okay, that's settled. I'll make that rascal apologize to Ayn Rand. You can't get a divorce. Old Mrs. Mo was terrified. Jinrong's grandma, we have our own considerations regarding this matter. It's for the sake of the child. Ayn Rand might need to calm down. Let's eat first, Leah said. Okay. Old Mrs. Mo ate happily at the dining table. It had been a long time since she had experienced the feeling of a family eating together. Her son and grandson were both busy with work, and she was the only one with the nanny every day. She had never felt such a family eating together. During the meal, old Mrs. Mo told the Lan family about Jinrong's childhood, and the atmosphere softened. After the meal, old Mrs. Mo held Ayn Rand's hand again. You are Jinrong's medicine. What can he do without you? Old Mrs. Mo was troubled again. Jinrong's grandma, let's talk about this when Jinrong comes. I need an explanation and a promise, Xingyang said solemnly. Don't worry, in-law. We will, old Mrs. Mo promised. The family sent old Mrs. Mo off. Ayn Rand, how did this happen? You can't be impulsive. Leo spoke to Ayn Rand. Mom, I'm all right. Ayn Rand smiled and said. Seeing Ayn Rand's smile, Xingyang felt even more sad for his daughter. Mo Jinrong looked serious, but he ended up being just another playboy. What do you mean nothing? Mo Jinrong is ugly and old, but he's still attracting attention. I regret not stopping you back then. Leah was upset. Mom, it's not that bad. Today, Jinrong's company came up with a new dress. He wanted to see the models after she wore it. I don't think it was good, so I was angry. It's my fault. Ayn Rand didn't want her family to think Jinrong was a playboy, so she tried to explain. I don't care. If that rascal doesn't apologize, I'll really let you get a divorce. He doesn't even like to look at himself. He's so ugly. What else does he have other than some money? My daughter married him and yet he isn't satisfied? How annoying. Leah originally thought that Mo Jinrong was just a bit uglier, older, and possible. She didn't expect him to be such a person. Now that she thought about it, she didn't like him at all. Sis, don't be angry, I'll avenge you. Yanran was furious. Yanran, you're a star now. Pay attention to your identity, or the slightest bit of dirt will get on you. You are also working under your brother-in-law, so you can't let anything go wrong. I'm fine. I said your brother-in-law would be here in a few days, and everything would be alright. Yanran didn't know what to say. Mo Chang-wen must have ruined her plan. Sis, you're so kind. Mo Jinrong must have been blind. Yanran felt aggrieved for his sister. At Lan Tingyi's house. It wasn't time to knock off yet, but Lan Tingyi was drunk when he entered the house. He knocked on the door loudly, as if asking for a loan. What's wrong? Why are you back so early? Is there a social gathering on the first day? Shu Yanshan asked. Tingyi took a bottle of beer and gulped it down. His face flushed. He tugged at his tie impatiently. Ha! Who do you think I am? How dare he arrange such a job for me? Disgusting. What happened? Zhao Shumi heard the voice and walked out. Mom, control your second son. He's a bully and he arranged me to clean the toilet. Tingyi pounced on Zhao Shumi. What? Aren't you a logistician who manages workers? Shu Yanshan was puzzled. That job is in charge of the cleaners. But those smelly old men refuse to be disciplined. They don't listen to me. To put it bluntly, they look down on me and despise me for being a criminal. I'm just a group leader, and there are people above me managing me. They even made me clean the toilets. Aren't they humiliating me? I'm still wearing my suit. Why am I still wearing this? Chapter 193, Hypocritical. Lan Tingyi wore his suit and tie, tossing it on the ground. That bastard. Tingyi is a surgeon. How could he clean the toilet? Needless to say, it was that brat who instigated it. Zhao Shumi immediately understood what Yanran had done. Mom, Tingyi has never suffered such grievances. Aren't they clearly bullying our family? Shu Yanshan was furious. Grandma, my father isn't very capable and has been in prison before. The second uncle is from the Lan family. How can a family help outsiders? It's one thing for him to look down on my father, but why must he humiliate him like this? Yaxin cried. I'll make a trip to Ting Yang's house and resolve this matter at the same time. Last time, because he said he would help Tingyi settle his work, I was still thinking about the matter of the house. This can't go on. Damn it, unfiled son. Watch how I'll teach him. If he dares to play any tricks on me this time, I'll break his legs. Zhao Shumi spoke fiercely. Mom, we're going, but we have to talk about it when Yanran isn't around. Shu Yanshan spoke. Zhao Shumi thought about it and agreed. Something bad would happen if that brat came. It's all right, Tingyi. We will take revenge for you. Ting Yang won't bully you. Zhao Shumi comforted Tingyi, who was in her arms. By this time, Tingyi was drunk and had fallen asleep. They helped Tingyi to his bed and looked at the sky. They decided to cause a scene at the Lan family's house tomorrow, while Yanran was in school. Mo Jinrong was leisurely feeding the goldfish by the pond. Young master, aren't you worried that old Mrs. Mo will come over? Mr. Mo said that she has gone to the Lan family, Mo Son asked worriedly. What are you afraid of? This is just a trick to fool Mo Chang-wen. Mo Jinrong spoke coldly. Young master, you've changed. You used to tell me such things, but you didn't tell me this time. Mo Son braved himself. Your acting skills aren't good enough. It's useless to tell you. Mo Jinrong scattered some fish food into the river. Young master, what should we do next? Mo Son asked. Isn't it inconvenient for us? Is there no sign of zero yet? Mo Jinrong asked faintly. It's useless. Didn't Master Z say that Q was in Langxi County? Why hasn't she appeared yet? Mo Son asked. Perhaps she really is Q. Mo Jinrong suddenly remembered that Q didn't move last time. probably because he was by Q's side. That would explain that Ayn Rand was Q. It could be seen from her injured scar. Should we make things clear with Miss Land? Mo-san asked. I'll tell her. I just hope she doesn't break my plan. Mojiro didn't want Ayn Rand to be anyone else. No one could ruin his plan, and if he had no choice, he had to chase her away. Young master, Quan Chiang needs to hurry. The new medicine will be introduced soon. The current tests have proven that the side effects of the unstable medicine are severe and will require the plant's control, Mo-san said. Go to Langshi County and have a look. I'll find it. Young master, the last time someone visited after buying the medicine, they said that the effect was good. Even someone in the late stages of cancer feels much more relaxed. They kept complimenting the medicine, saying that you're such a good person. Mo-san smiled as he said, This medicine can only relieve the pain. Let them be prepared if they are in the late stage of cancer. Tell them that this isn't a magical medicine that can cure all diseases. Don't make it public. Mojiro spoke indifferently. Before Mo-san could finish his sentence, a series of insults came from behind. Rascal! How dare you get a divorce? You didn't even inform me when you were getting married, and now you want a divorce? The Mo family is really asking for trouble. Old Mrs. Mo's expression was solemn, her steps were elegant, and her tone was extremely harsh. Old Mrs. Mo, you're here. Mo-san bowed his head. He's going to make more trouble if I don't come in. What a joke. I thought you could lead a good life at home. But you're really worrisome. What kind of good people are these female models? They're just a bunch of malicious people, but you abandoned Ayn Rand for those women. I wouldn't believe it if your uncle told me, but look at you. You're serious, old Mrs. Mo shouted. Grandma, it's over. We can't change it. We've signed a divorce agreement. Mojiro wasn't afraid and continued to feed the fish. Old Mrs. Mo, don't be angry and have a cup of tea first. Mo-san handed the freshly brewed Longjing over. Do you think I want to drink? Old Mrs. Mo was furious. She smashed a teacup in front of her and cursed. You follow young master every day and stop him in everything stupid. I told you to watch him, not allow him. Tell me, what have you done? Old Mrs. Mo scolded Mo-san directly. What does this have to do with me? How can I stop the young master? Mo-san felt wronged. Grandma, I did this. It's settled for now. Mojiro's unhurried character infuriated old Mrs. Mo. Chapter 194. Ayn Rand is removed? Say it again. I told you to apologize to Ayn Rand. The Mo family values reputation. How could you do such a thing? I watched you grow up, and I didn't expect you to be such a thing. In the past 20 years, you weren't attracted to women, even when you were ill. But isn't it because of Ayn Rand, now that you're better? I told you long before that she is your medicine. You might be better now, but you won't be able to make it without Ayn Rand. Apologize now. Old Mrs. Mo hurriedly pulled Mojiro's hand, wanting to leave. Grandma, do you know how these fishes can get together? Mojiro fed the fish silently. Old Mrs. Mo couldn't understand at all. She just wanted a granddaughter-in-law. Rascal, don't beat around the bush. Let's go to the Land family's house. Like this. Mojiro picked up a bunch of fish food and scattered it into the water. Various types of fish were fighting over the food and had gathered to form a large group. Ayn Rand and I are doing this now, Grandma. Don't worry. Mojiro smiled at old Mrs. Mo. Old Mrs. Mo was confused. She knew her grandson best, and he wouldn't do such a thing. He had been in the business world for many years and had seen many things. Was Mojiro playing a long game of you catch the big fish? You rascal! Why didn't you tell me anything? You made me run to the Land family to be scolded. Are you saying that there's a mole in the Mo family? Old Mrs. Mo reacted swiftly. Grandma, you should go back and enjoy the show. Your grandson will handle these matters. Don't worry, I will take care of Ayn Rand. Mo Junrong would smile at old Mrs. Mo. That better be the case. Ayn Rand is such a good girl. You're not allowed to bully her. Bring her to me when you're free. Old Mrs. Mo reminded him. Got it, Grandma. Mo Junrong got Mo-san to send old Mrs. Mo out. Mo-san, you've been with Junrong for a long time, and you should know some things even if I don't say them. Junrong is hot-tempered and young. You should have seen his father before. His father didn't say anything. He keeps it to his heart. There are some things he didn't tell me before he died. Stay by his side and remind him not to go overboard. Old Mrs. Mo walked out the door. I know, young master didn't tell me this time, but old Mrs. Mo, don't worry. I will definitely remind him, Mo-san said. Do you know who the Mo Junrong is referring to? Old Mrs. Mo, it's better if you don't know so much. With young master around, you don't have to worry. And with that, Mo-san sent old Mrs. Mo off. In a blink of an eye the next day, Ayn Rand returned to school and the school posted the list. This time, Ayn Rand wasn't on the list. She was obviously eliminated. Isn't this Lin Ayn Rand? Why isn't her name here? Lian Shao stood at the back and smiled. Aren't you very powerful? What a joke. You aren't even in the last place. Some people think too highly of themselves. Lian Shao was overjoyed and she laughed with the others. Jackson was overjoyed as well, but at the same time she was glad she didn't take the test. She heard that the test wasn't simple, or else it would have been embarrassing again. Sis, aren't you determined to win? You're the most embarrassing person in the Lan family this time. Ayn Rand didn't care. What she was concerned about was why her name was removed. She needed to find her teacher to ask about it. Ayn Rand walked through the crowd and straight to the office. Teacher, why was my result eliminated? Li Yu was drinking water and almost spat it out. And then I was just about to tell you, why did you write English on the test paper? I reflected that the test paper was wrong, but the solicitor said that it was a test for me and wouldn't let me change it. Even if my last test paper was wrong, if I don't get first place in the first two subjects, I will be at least in the top 3. Why was my name removed? Ayn Rand asked directly. Li Yu was stumped. Ayn Rand, have you offended someone? This hasn't happened in years, and I don't know either. If you want to know, you'll have to go to the Wrong City Medical Research Institute. Got it. Thank you, teacher. Ayn Rand returned to the class angrily. If she wasn't allowed to enter, she would force it. Some people don't even have a name. Why are they so arrogant? Lin Cheng laughed mockingly. Lin Cheng, are you itching for a beating? Ayn Rand will kick you to pieces later. Zhao Xiaolei cursed. Lin Cheng calmed down. It had only been a few days since the last incident. He couldn't show off anymore. Ayn Rand, it's all right. It was an accident, and I believe you did very well. Sun Hai walked over to comfort her. Zhao Xiaolei was dumbfounded. Were they so close just by going out? Yeah, I'm all right. Ayn Rand nodded with mixed feelings. Just then, the class bell rang and Li Yu entered the classroom. Students, you can't relax after the test. Our experimental class, the best class in the school, will be having the midterm exam. There is still a week to go before everyone gets ready. If you fail the test this time, there will be a penalty and a risk of elimination. You must be careful. The classroom was bustling with noise. What happened to everyone? Ayn Rand looked at the restless class and asked curiously, You just arrived and have yet to experience such a terrible moment. Those who are eliminated from the experimental class are sought after by the ordinary class teachers. But the useless people in the eyes of our classmates are those who have been eliminated. Life in the ordinary class isn't good, so everyone doesn't want to leave. They're also very afraid. There is a terrifying aspect of every elimination match, Zhao Xiaolei said. Chapter 195, The Hospital is in Trouble. While Lan Ayn Rand was in class, Zhao Shumi took Xu Yanshan to look for Lan Tingyang anxiously. They knocked on the door for a long time, but there was no response. Confirming that he wasn't at home, they then went to the hospital, insisting on an explanation. Coincidentally, Ting Young was dealing with Tingy's incident yesterday. Because he didn't come to the hospital yesterday, he didn't know that the hospital had been turned upside down by Lan Tingy. Early this morning, several workers came to work and accused Lan Tingy of being violent, causing him to have a headache. Director Lan, you have to be reasonable. Who was that person you hired yesterday? A barbarian? An old man spoke angrily. Yesterday he ruined our plan. We have been in this hospital for 5 or 6 years and are about to retire. I wasn't late and have never left early, but yesterday that barbarian forced me to break the record. Why did you find such a small leader? An old lady was furious. Don't be anxious, everyone. Tell us one by one what happened yesterday. Ting Young listened to the explanation patiently. What's wrong? He directed us to work, but he didn't do anything by himself. The toilets have to be cleaned every day, and there are so many people in the hospital. We couldn't keep up with the workload. He didn't even help us, and even scolded us when we asked him to do some work. He trampled on the fruits of our labor and used all the cleaning utensils at random. Do you think the toilet cleaner can be used together with 84 disinfectants? We almost died. We don't accept such a small leader. The old man flushed with anger. Although it was yesterday, they were very angry today. We refuse to accept this. Us sales employees have worked in the hospital for all these years and have always been considerate. We didn't say anything wrong. If someone dies in this hospital, we won't be able to shoulder the responsibility. Yesterday, because of the disinfectant incident, he beat us. I'm an old bag of bones and have lived my entire life without a fight. We strongly urge you to fire this person. A few people gathered at the door of Ting Young's office, yelling and facing the large number of nurses and patients. Everyone quieten down. We will not handle this matter. You can go back to work first. Li Yu saw that Ting Young seemed to have guessed it and sighed. The crowd dissipated and a few of them left. Hubby, like I said, Tingy isn't the type to do such a job. Li Yu shook her head while she said this. Who does this job? Zashumi walked over slowly and asked angrily, Mom, what are you doing here? Come in and have a seat. Taeyong invited Zhao Shumi in mainly because he was afraid that she would affect the hospital's order. Why can't I come? Zhao Shumi sat down and rolled her eyes at Ting Yun. Ting Yun, what kind of job did you find your brother? Your brother is a proper doctor, after all. Back then, he was an expert, and many people wanted him to be their surgeon. Now you're sending him to clean the toilets? How can you think of that? Xu Yanshan spoke directly. Big sister-in-law, you have to ask Big Brother about this. The worker just told me about the incident. There are so many people in the hospital. Isn't it normal for people to go to the toilet? What if someone dies? Tingy was once a hospital. How could a doctor put disinfectant and toilet cleaner together? Ting Young was helpless. Zhao Shumi looked at Xu Yanshan and forced out an excuse. How long has it been since your brother became a doctor? It's normal to forget about it. Isn't it just a small conflict? I remember you told me that you wanted your brother to be a small leader. Is this how you treat your family? Mom, you should know his temper. He offended all the old employees in my hospital. How can he work here? Ting Young was troubled. They are outsiders, after all. Aren't they just a few smelly old men who clean the toilets? Let me tell you, if you don't think about your brother, you are an ingrate. Your earrings have become tougher, haven't they? If you don't choose between your brother and these smelly old men, I won't be leaving today. I'll show the outsiders how unfile you are. Zhao Shumi sat on the sofa with her legs crossed and spoke firmly. Mom, you're making things difficult for me. They are old employees of the hospital. They are nimble and have violent tempers, but they are also very good people. Yesterday, Tingy beat them up. We have the responsibility and speak the truth about it. Leo spoke calmly. Shut up, you're the one who keeps nagging at my son. Does he not want his mom anymore? Tell the truth. Does he think of outsiders only? Zashimi was dissatisfied. Mom, I really can't side with him on this matter. Back then you asked me to find a job for him, but I couldn't either. If he can't do such a small thing, he won't be getting a higher position either. Lan Tingyang rejected her outright. He couldn't patronize old Mrs. Lan anymore, or she would push her luck. That doesn't suit him. Everyone in this hospital is an outsider. Your brother knows a little, so why can't he get a better job? If you don't agree, I'll come to this hospital every day. Let's see if you have any shame. Chapter 196, Wanting the Hospital. Zashumi looked at her son, who was so soft she could only use force. Mom, why are you doing this? You're a doctor and have wide connections. Why can't you find a job for Tingy? Leo stumped. I'm old and you want me to embarrass myself? Zashumi questioned her. In fact, she was afraid that she would tarnish her own reputation as a prodigy in the medical field. After all, it wasn't a glorious thing to have a son who had been jailed. Her son has a hospital, so why should she be bothering others? Tingyan, Yuro, we're not unreasonable people. I know you're frustrated that we keep coming over. I have an idea. You can pay us to open a pharmacy, and we can turn our own money. We will contact the hospital for the medicine. What do you think? Shu Yanshan had another idea, and Zhao Shumi's eyes lit up. That's good. You can open your own store and not be bullied by others. You can split the money with Tingyan, but you can use our store if you want to buy medicine. Tingyan, you should agree, right? Mom, you didn't support me when I opened my hospital and gave me 5,000 yuan in the end. Why did you agree to open the pharmacy for Tingy and even want me to pay? I'm your son too. Why can't you treat me fairly? Lan Tingyan questioned. Isn't your brother weak? I can pay if he doesn't have money, but I've helped him a lot and I don't have a lot of money now. You should help him as a younger brother. Zashumi didn't think that there was anything wrong. It was good for Tingy to be the boss, so it wouldn't hurt to help his younger brother. Mom, you're being unfair and biased. This pharmacy doesn't have to record cases. There are so many malicious matters. Have you forgotten why Tingy went to jail? If someone dies in the pharmacy he runs, it won't be as simple as jail time. Tingyang was worried that he would implicate his hospital. Mom, if you really want Tingy to be the boss and run a pharmacy, he will have to settle this for himself. This has nothing to do with the hospital or us. In addition, our hospital wouldn't cooperate with Tingy's pharmacy. We have our own medicine factory. If you and Tingy agree, I'm willing to pay Tingy using my personal funds. This is just the money to buy a store and run a pharmacy. We won't be responsible for the rest. Do you agree? Lear was really annoyed with old Mrs. Land and Lan Tingy's family. They were like vampires that she couldn't shake off. Zhao Shumi and Shu Yanshan looked at each other. If they didn't make any connections with the hospital, they wouldn't be able to get anything. They won't be able to continue the business in 8 or 10 years. No, how can we earn money if we can't cooperate with the hospital? Shu Yanshan was the first to object. Then there's nothing we can do. We can't help you with this. Liu immediately refused. Tingyang, you spineless coward. Are you going to let your daughter and wife be the heads of the Land family? Zashumi cursed. Mom, I agree with her too. We can't do anything if you don't agree. Zashumi had wanted to benefit from Lan Tingyang, but the ingrate didn't give her a chance. Good, 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 very good. If you don't want us to open a pharmacy, you'll have to find a job for him. I think the position as hospital director is very suitable for him. Since you don't want to help him, this hospital will be his. I am not dead yet. I can make the decision. Zashumi had designs on the hospital. However, Tingyang and Liu were used to it. They were the legal representatives of the hospital, so it had nothing to do with Lan Tingy. Zashumi probably just wanted to scare them with her words. Mom, you should go home. I can't help either the hospital or the house. Tingyang turned to leave when Zhao Shumi called out, Stop, I think you're confused. Tingyang didn't want to take it anymore and called the security guard at the door. 2 of you, come to the office and take the person inside. He hung up and left with Liu. Bastard, Lan Tingyang, you heartless bastard. The security came in just in time to drag the 2 of them out and threw them out outside the hospital. Bastard, Zhao Shumi cursed. Mom, what are we going to do now? We won't be able to survive without Tingyang. Shu Yanshan cried with watery eyes. Just you wait. Tingyang is a heart-soft bastard, but I'm still his mother. Let's play a trick on him. He will agree. Zhao Shumi could only use this move now. Ayn Rand had just finished classes when she received Fatty's message. Boss, Huan Xiang has been sent to the herb garden to be planted. The climate in Rong City is similar to the Langshi County. It should be able to live. Okay, any news about Shang Tian's drug experiment? Ayn Rand stood by the railing and asked. No, he kept the news under wraps, and now we can't find his research or experimental place. Fatty replied. All right, I'll go back to the Rong City Medical Research Institute later today. Wait for me there. I'm going to take a look, Ayn Rand said. Boss, you have to be careful. Last time you were injured, that place has good security measures. Fatty reminded. Got it. Just then, Roj and Rong called again. Hello, did you miss me? Ayn Rand joked. Come find me when you're free today. We have something to discuss. Moj and Rong hung up after he finished speaking. Chapter 197. This woman isn't simple. Young master, the show is complete. What else do you want? Moson asked. Ask her to help relieve my pain and tell Rong Zi that Q has been found. Moj and Rong seemed to have a deeper meaning in his words. Young master, you can't touch women. Does that make you miserable? Mo-san smiled as he asked. Moj and Rong glared at him in silence. No, young master, you and Miss Lan are already divorced. If Miss Lan comes over again, Mr. Mo will be suspicious, Mo-san explained. Let him be suspicious. What I need is Ayn Rand to help me find Zero. Moj and Rong spoke calmly. Young master, I was actually quite surprised too. I didn't expect Miss Lan, who looks so weak, to be cute. Isn't she just a countryside girl? If you weren't so wise, you wouldn't have found out, Mo-san sighed. This woman isn't simple. Moj and Rong sighed softly. Only outstanding women are good enough for the young master. Mo-san started flattering him. How is Qin Tian? Moj and Rong suddenly remembered that this man actually dared to ask his woman out shopping. Young master, I was just about to tell you that the background of this man isn't simple. Qin Tian's father is Qin Hao, a well-known businessman abroad. He has been on the Forbes list twice, and his family business is planning to move to Rong City soon. I believe he will meet you when the time comes. After all, the Mo Corporation is the biggest company in Rong City. Qin Hao, the son is like his father. Both like to steal things from others. Since he likes it, I can't give it to him. Moj and Rong's gaze gradually became hostile. Young master, are you perhaps in love with Miss Lan? Mo-san smiled as he asked. Are you asking me to death? How could I have fallen in love with that girl? She's just a countryside woman. What's there to like? Moj and Rong didn't acknowledge his thoughts, but Mo-san could. I was wrong, young master. Let's see how long you can last. You can leave. Remember to visit Langshi County in the afternoon, Moj and Rong reminded him. Mo-san left and Moj and Rong leaned back in his chair tiredly. He didn't expect Ayn Rand to be the person. Zero was getting closer and closer to him. After school, Ayn Rand went straight to the Mo Corporation. After entering the Mo Corporation, countless pairs of eyes stared at her, but she didn't feel any discomfort and walked straight into Moj and Rong's office. Boss Mo, you missed me so much after the divorce? Ayn Rand pushed the door open and smiled. That's right, Miss Q. I've been looking for you. Moj and Rong turned his chair around. Ayn Rand was stunned. She was always keeping her identity a secret. So how did he know? What are you talking about? Who's Q? I don't know her. Ayn Rand sat down skeptically. Really? Miss Q, I've been looking for you. You don't have to pretend anymore. I remember you coming to my office. The wound on your arm was caused by me using a pen. Did you forget? Moj and Rong suddenly revealed his cards, and Ayn Rand was at a loss. Boss Mo, what are you saying? I'm really not Q. You must have the wrong person. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Ayn Rand stood up to leave. You are Q. You don't have to worry that I will tell everyone. We can help each other. Moj and Rong stood up with a smile. Since you know I won't hide it from you. What do you want from me? Ayn Rand turned and smiled, revealing a solemn expression that Mo Jinrong had never seen before, as if she was negotiating. He finally admitted it. What I want from you is very simple. Help me find someone, Mo Jinrong said. Who are you looking for? Ayn Rand asked cautiously. Her name is Zero. She is a woman and has a red mole in her ear like you. She's a hypnotist. Mo Jinrong glanced at Ayn Rand's ear. What are you looking at? I'm Q, not Zero. Ayn Rand hurriedly explained. There are many coincidences in this world. I know that it's also a coincidence. It's already incredible for a countryside girl to be a hacker. It's impossible for you to have another identity. Relax, I won't suspect you, Mo Jinrong said. You want Zero to cure your illness? Why me? Ayn Rand asked. You're the only one who can find her. I believe you. My illness has lasted a long time, and she is the only one who can heal me. Mo Jinrong spoke softly. Actually, your illness can be cured as long as you don't touch women. You actually want to do it with me? Ayn Rand asked deliberately and became embarrassed. You're thinking too much. Actually, I think you know that Rongzi looked for you previously and promised you to give you 10 billion yuan. This promise is still there. As long as you help me find Zero, I won't break my promise. Mo Jinrong was a man of his word. He would keep his promise. Sure, don't worry. For the sake of my happiness, I will definitely find her. Ayn Rand stood up and blew Mo Jinrong a big kiss before turning to leave. When she walked out of the office, she felt uneasy. She didn't know how Mo Jinrong had found her. She had done a good job at hiding, but since he found her, she would definitely help him. As she was so focused, she didn't realize that Mo Chang-wen had been watching her from the dark. She had just walked out of the Mo Corporation when a car drove straight towards her. Fortunately, Ayn Rand dodged in time and moved away from her car. She wasn't injured, and the car was only aiming for the Land family car. Chapter 198, Pursued. What happened? Ayn Rand was still in shock and hurriedly ran out to take a look at the car behind. The driver was a man in his 30s. His head was bleeding and he had fainted in the car. The window hadn't closed, and Ayn Rand could smell a strong stench of alcohol through the window. Hello? Wake up! Ayn Rand tried to wake the man in the car, but to no avail. When the Mo Corporation's people had heard the noise, they hurriedly came out to look. There was a large group of people standing at the door. The crowd was whispering, They say that Boss Mo always jinxed his wife. She's divorced, and yet she's still jinxed? He's so capable. Keep your voice down. It's not the first time that Boss Mo has jinxed his wife. Fortunately, the lady boss survived. Ayn Rand couldn't care less about gossip, so she called the police and the ambulance, sending the driver to the hospital. Mo Chang-wen, who wasn't far away, stomped his feet angrily. It seemed that Ayn Rand's life was filled with evil spirits. Her life was unusually resilient. This time she dodged a bullet, but it won't happen again. Ayn Rand sent him to the hospital and made a statement to the traffic police. She took a long time before returning. The Land family was worried when they heard that Ayn Rand was going to the hospital and the police station. Ayn Rand, the police station called, and they said something happened to you. Are you hurt? Li Yuro asked anxiously. No, Mom. It was just a drunk driver. I wasn't injured. Ayn Rand turned in a circle and smiled. You scared your dad and me. Li Yuro hugged Ayn Rand and cried. What's going on? Why are there so many accidents? Ever since you got married into the Mo family, there has been no peace. I think the divorce was right. Mo Jinrong really jinxed his wife. Ayn Rand is really lucky. Otherwise, Lantinga didn't dare to continue. What are you saying? Can a divorce be made so easily? Ayn Rand is only 20 years old. How could she get married after a divorce? Li Yuro reproached him. This is a matter of life and death. Look at Ayn Rand. She just came back. There's so many things happening to her. Ting-Young was a little worried about his daughter. Mom, Dad, I'm alright. It was an accident. Ayn Rand comforted him. What, accident? Mo Jinrong definitely doesn't have a life in his life. Look, he didn't even come back, even though something happened. It's good that you're divorced. If my daughter will be bullied if she marries over, I'd rather stay by my side and lead a happy life then cry after marriage. Lansing said furiously. Are you thinking of making your daughter an old lady? Lyra retorted. But Mojang is really... He usually seems like a good child. Why? Let's go inside. Mom will make something delicious to calm down. Anne returned home, turned on her computer and sent a message to Fatty. My identity has been exposed. Mojang has guessed that I am Q. The operation tonight is cancelled. What? Boss, how is this possible? We were all covered up. How did we get exposed? Fatty asked in surprise. I don't know. Stop all activities for the time being and wait for my notice. The two of you can go overseas to play for these few days. You're not allowed to come back without my notice. Ayn dismissed them, afraid that more people would notice, and could only wait for the news to die down. The road fare, Fatty stammered. The budget is $50 million. I'll reimburse you when you're back. Yanran came in after she sent the message and she spoke nervously. Sis, did you have a car accident? It's alright, you're scaring me. Yanran was indeed shocked. Are you alright? Yanran asked. It's alright. Aren't you going to a shoot today? Yanran closed her laptop and asked. I don't have many scenes left. The director has pushed forward my scenes to wrap up. Perhaps he is afraid that I'll affect the film. Yanran was helpless. It's alright, just treat it as a vacation. You'll be fine in a few days. Yanran comforted him. Okay, sis. Why isn't brother-in-law here yet? Yanran asked. We're divorced. Why would he come here? Yanran spoke nonchalantly. Sis, don't lie to me. You can deceive Mom and Dad, but you can't deceive me. Are you hiding something from me? Yanran had a hunch that something was wrong. He was furious when he heard that his sister was getting a divorce. But on second thought, his brother-in-law was so handsome and rich. Why would he do such a thing? He doesn't look like that kind of person, so there must be something wrong. Nothing's wrong, you're just a kid. How would you know about marriage? Don't let your thoughts run wild. Think about your own acting career. Yanran comforted him. It's alright, I'm very happy to see my goddess. Yanran sounded innocently like a child. After he left, Yanran turned on her computer and sent an email to the messengers on the various brands asking them to consider Yanran as their spokesperson. These were her clients and had received some help from her before. It was time to return a favor. Soon they replied many messages. They didn't say that they wouldn't help, but they were observing. After all, Yanran was a newbie and had caused such a big scandal. No one dared to use him lightly. It'd be great if they could get in touch with him. Lyra called Yanran out for dinner when it was ready, so she shut her computer and went downstairs with satisfaction. Chapter 199. Something happened to Fu Guoxing. A few days passed. When Yanran woke up in the morning, she realized that there was an overwhelming number of attacks against Fu Guoxing at night. The suppressed news suddenly popped up, and there was a wave of condemnation online. The reason was that anonymous netizen had exposed her indecent photos with Fu Guoxing and had accused him of sexual harassment and physical assault. Fu Guoxing immediately sent out a lawyer letter and spent money to try to stop the trending searches, but the matter was too serious and couldn't be stopped. Madam Xu, save me. Wasn't the previous incident over? How did it become like this? Fu Guoxing hurriedly called Xu Pei to ask. How should I know? There are so many things about you that I don't know all these years. Don't think that I can help you just because you saved my life. Xu Pei was clearly impatient. I know, please save me again. I really don't know what happened. I don't even know her. Fu Guoxing felt wronged. Of course you don't know her. You dealt with so many men and women. How do you even remember? I can't help you with this. Xu Pei hung up the phone. She didn't want to help this playboy anymore. Hello? 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 Fu Guoxing smashed his phone in anger. Teacher Fu, what should we do? We have 3 endorsements, 2 movies, and 1 variety show. We're going to lose hundreds of millions. The little assistant was anxious. How could I not know? Damn it, who is this person? Fu Guoxing cursed. I don't know, it was posted by an anonymous blogger. But last time I followed Yanran's manager, Wang King. She seemed to be collecting something, but I didn't know the details, the little assistant said. It's him again, Lan Yanran. Fu Guoxing was furious. He was just a small starlet, and yet he was so capable. He wanted to see what else Yanran had. Teacher Fu, you're old. Don't you know how to behave yourself? Fu Guoxing's manager walked over and cursed. I don't know about it either. Someone is framing me. You can't blame me for this, Fu Guoxing quibbled. Frame? I can help you with the things that happened in the past, but this time they took a screenshot of your conversation. What else do you have to say? The company has started a meeting to discuss this. The results might not be good and you might even retire, the manager said helplessly. What did you say? I don't want to. Fu Guoxing held his waist and paced anxiously in front of the sofa. Teacher Fu, I've tried my best. You spent 30 years in the entertainment industry making a lot of money for the company. You're getting old too, and it doesn't matter if you retire now. The company will compensate you. Manager Li Man said helplessly. I don't want compensation. This matter will blow over in a few days. Why do you want me to leave the entertainment circle? Fu Guoxing was confused. There were many things in the entertainment industry, and there are even more eccentric people than him. Weren't they doing well in the entertainment industry? Why did he have to quit? Teacher Fu, you're already in your 50s, going to be your 60s. This matter involves the law, and I heard that they found a lawyer. They even have evidence. How can the company keep you? Li Man continued. Damn it, this must be something to do with Yanran. He hired someone to frame me. It's all his fault. Fu Guoxing insisted that it was a false accusation. Li Man felt helpless and turned to leave. Fu Guoxing wouldn't leave the industry so easily. He had posted on Weibo to clear his name. The moment he posted on Weibo, many people flooded his Weibo with insults. Disrespectful old man, beast in human clothing. We believe in evidence, you old pervert. That's insane. Fu Guoxing trembled with anger as he read the comments. Lan Yanran, I'm going to kill you. He was about to leave when his little assistant stopped him. Teacher Fu, there are many reporters outside. In any moment there will be police coming to question us. The little assistant stammered. What? The police? Who let them in? Fu Guoxing panicked and shouted. Teacher Fu, this matter is related to the law. I saw the police downstairs just now, and they're going to be here soon. The little assistant lowered his head and said, Bastard. Fu Guoxing was cursing when he heard someone knocking on the door. The little assistant opened the door and saw 2 policemen standing outside. Where is Fu Guoxing? A thin policeman asked. I am here. Officers, you have to prove my innocence. This is a false accusation. I'm innocent. Fu Guoxing held the police officer's hand and spoke with a pitiful expression. Wronged? We are here to collect your genetic sample. The victim has called the police and we are to collect your genetic sample. Please come with us, the policeman said. No, I'm not going. I didn't commit a crime. You can collect it in here. I'll give you my hair. Fu Guoxing's entire body was resisting. The 2 police officers dragged Fu Guoxing away forcefully. The reporters downstairs swarmed over. Excuse me, is this a crime? Mr. Fu, have you really done it? Mr. Fu, is the news true? The reporters' questions were endless and Fu Guoxing was at a loss for words. Under the protection of the police, they left in the police car. Chapter 200, Zhao Shumizo. I didn't do anything. I was wronged, Fu Guoxing shouted. This matter had various opinions online and caused an uproar. Yanran smiled happily. This was a result of bullying her brother. When Yanran saw the news, he couldn't stop smiling. Sis Wang, you're the best, Yanran praised. Of course, but it's strange. I don't know who sent me dirt about Fu Guoxing. If that old fellow Fu Guoxing hadn't pressured you so much, I wouldn't have bothered. This person sure knows how to seize opportunities. Wang King raised her a cup of coffee and said, Next, can I start filming? Yanran asked happily. Now that Fu Guoxing is down, you can be considered to have risen in the entertainment circle without his suppression. In the past few days, you not only had more schedules, but there were also several branded endorsements that were interested in collaborating with you. I didn't expect that a greenhorn like you would be able to attract such a big deal. However, you should maintain your popularity now and take advantage of Hugo Xing's incident to gain more fans. That way, there will be more endorsements looking for you. Long King plotted. Thank you, Sis Wang. I will work hard. Yanran looked at his phone with a smile, his mood incredibly good. Because Yanran had stopped all her activities, she seemed a little bored and could only continue her research in the countryside. She extracted the essence of one Pan Xiang's leaves and infused it into the medicine for the mice. The test results were indeed much better. After many tests, she felt a little relieved. She took some and prepared them for Modron. At this moment, Xingyang suddenly called and spoke in a hurry. Anran, come back quickly. Your grandma can't make it anymore. Come back and take a look. Anran was taken aback. Zhao Shumi, that old thing, lived longer than her in her past life. How could she be dead now? There must be something going on. Anran hurried back. She wanted to see what this old thing was up to. Zhao Shumi was convulsing all over and lying unconscious in the hospital. The doctor had issued a critical illness notice several times. Tingyi and Tingyun were panicking at the door. Tingyun, it's all your fault that Mom became like this. Because of you, she sighs every day and is in a bad mood. She can't eat properly and she can't sleep. Now that she has something like this, how are you going to be responsible? Tingyi grabbed Tingyun's collar. Tingyi, you can't blame Tingyun for this, right? If it weren't for the things you did, Mom wouldn't have become like this. Tell me, if you found a good job, she wouldn't have been so worried, Liero persuaded. Shut up. What has the Lan family's matters got to do with you? How dare you say this? It's because of you and your daughter that made Mom angry, Tingyi cursed. Several nurses walked out of the room. Old Mrs. Lan is awake. You can go in. Tingyun grabbed a nurse and asked, Doctor, how is my mom? What illness does she have? The inspection report isn't out yet. Let's wait for the results, the nurse said. Tingyun rushed in immediately and knelt at the door with tears in his eyes. Mom, what happened to you? Tingyun, Mom is old and doesn't have many days left to live. I just hope that you can help your brother. I wasn't able to eat or sleep in the past few days. I know my health. You can help your brother on the account that I'm about to die. He's the one I'm most worried about. Nashimi laid on the hospital bed and spoke weakly. Mom, you'll get better. Tingyun held her hand and choked. I'm well aware of my health and there aren't many good days left. After I leave, I hope that you can help me take care of your brother. He isn't very capable and has a bad temper. You should give in more. The old house at home was left behind by your father. I hope you can buy it back. After all, it was a thought, and after my death, I wanted to return my roots. I know that I've neglected you all these years and only knew when my time was up. I have let you down. Tingyun, forgive me. I know all these years, but your brother is too weak and I didn't take good care of you. You and your brother will have to depend on each other from now on. Zashumi said a lot in one breath, but she wasn't tired. Tingyun was busy being sad and didn't notice that Tingyi was even smiling behind him. Mom, stop talking and have a good rest. You'll be better. Xu Yanshan persuaded. Mom, Tingyun might not be able to help us with the house. This is your last wish. As your eldest son, I will definitely help you fulfill it. Tingyun deliberately knelt in front of Zhao Shumi and cried. Tingyi, how could you do it yourself? I'll help you. Mom, you have to stay well. I'll help him. Tingyun wiped his tears. In the past, he hated his mother, but now it was all gone. Lier couldn't say much, as old Mrs. Lan was about to die. At this moment, Anran rushed to the hospital with her bag. She was a little surprised to see Zhao Shumi lying on the hospital bed, gasping for breath. In her past life, she died, but Zhao Shumi didn't. In this life, Zhao Shumi was gone so quickly. If she really did die, she would be happy for a few days, but it would probably be aroused to gain sympathy.